It takes a person, a brave, a strong, spirited soul to break off the chains of those conditions that they was born in. And that's in every situation. I'm slick spitting right now. But the reason why I'm saying that, because it's hard to break those conditions that we was given. Welcome back to another episode of the Walking Towards Life podcast. I am your loving host, Walker Williams, and this is a place where you can grow your consciousness, you can be yourself, and you can feel safe. Now, I am happy to have y'all back here, and I want to say this right now. I am very appreciative of all the love that I've gotten from my last 3 episodes. I want to thank Indigo and Odyssey for being the first 2 guests on my podcast. And I could not have a greater first 2 guests than those beautiful souls. And I'm very, very grateful. Just how the inception of my podcast. Yes, I've made mistakes, I've had a lot of time to actually look at my videos and edit them and make sure I was like, wow, okay, there are some things I need to improve on. And give it episode by episode. We're gonna be there. By episode 50, I should be real super sharp. But so I'm really taking light on myself because trial and error. I'm still a rookie at this. I'm still a rookie, but I really appreciate all the love from everybody and support. I appreciate y'all near and dear. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Now, we're here to talk about my spiritual awakening. Now, I know everybody was hearing, Indigo spiritual awakening and Odyssey spiritual awakening. Now, people want to hear mine. Let's go and talk about what need to be talked about. I got the good instincts going on over there too. So we got the vibes. I want to say that let's discuss the stages of spiritual awakening first. Excuse me. There are. I wouldn't say there's an exact number of stages because it varies depending on the person. But I would just say there's awakening stage. There's a stage of the dark night of the soul, which I feel like everyone goes through on a spiritual journey. There's a phase to where you have to integrate everything that you learn. And I feel like the last stage is everything that you integrated, everything that you learn is like you give back and you live in harmony and peace with everything you learned. And it's not as difficult on your journey as it once was at the beginning. But speaking of beginning, let's start there. My beginning, my upbringing. I was born into a Christian family, and I was very, we were very religious. Well, I would say I was religious and they were. But, I was definitely a Christian and I, lived that lifestyle, as a kid, And, if you watch my first episode, I always spoke about me having a strong spiritual inclination. So even at that time of being a Christian, I was making sure my mom had like a children's Bible and it had all the stories in there. And I remember I used to want to read every story. I read the whole book. And I used to run downstairs and tell my mom what I read and stuff like that. I used to come to my mom saying, I want to be, baptized, and I would read the Revelations, and I would do things of like, trying to be, more of a Christian, not cussing, not engaging in sexual activities, all those things, I was really locked in. Like looking back now, it was a realization of that. I just want to be close to God. I want to be close to God as I can. And, I think that pattern, looking at it now, it's like, I feel like that's just a part of who I am in this lifetime. It's just building a strong connection with Source. But we gonna get to that. So I went through elementary, I went through middle school, I went to high school being a Christian. And like I said, I was devoting my life to Christianity. I was being a kid, so yes, I would be back cussing. It was times where I didn't cuss. It was times where I didn't engage in sexual activities, and being very a good Christian. And I would say that led all the way into me to college. And what shifted my mind and what changed my reality, and I spoke about this in episode 1. If you watched episode 1, did you watch it? I hope you did. If not, go back and watch. But yeah, so I spoke on The Secret. Where my baby at? Where my baby at? This is my baby right here. We also are going to do a book video. So be on the lookout for my top 10 books of all time. Maybe I might do a top 5. Top 10 might be too much, but I have like over 70 books. I want to do either a top 5 or top 10 books of all time. And I can't wait for y'all to hear that. But this book right here, this is what changed my paradigm. This is what changed my life because before this, I didn't really know what I was doing in my life. I didn't know where I was going. I was a college student. I went to University of Memphis. Let me clarify that. I went to University of Memphis, and then I went to community college to get my credits up, to get my credits to go back to University of Memphis. But yes, so I reached the lowest, I would say probably the lowest point I've been at when I was in college, because I never be to the point where I'm super low. I'm always kind of like at a balanced state, but I was coming home from school and I was just like moping around and just, very low energy after school. But I would say there was a time when I just had to ask myself so much questions and ask myself, what is my purpose? God, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Over and over again. And then it's crazy how the universe works, because I was asking it a question. And then like the next few days, I had a strong feeling, a strong pull to this book that my mom had. My mom used to speak on this. The Secret was very popular at one point in time. Law of Attraction was very popular because I think Oprah was speaking about it on her podcast. Not her podcast, but on her show. And it became a phenomenon. The Secret, Law of Attraction. So I think that's how my mom knew. If my mom watched this, it's going to be a little funny. But she'd be like, son, you know about Law of Attraction? And I'd be like, no, I don't. She'd be like, what you put out into this world is what you get back. That's how Law of Attraction works. And, as a kid, mom tell you stuff. You're like, okay, mom, I got you. I hear you. But it don't really register. But one day I had a strong I would say gravitational pull, but a strong pull to this book. And it just really, even just look at the book, it just seemed like mysterious. It seemed very mysterious, don't it? But I end up getting this book. I went downstairs to my bookshelf. I grabbed this book at like 10 o'clock that morning. I was glued to that book from 10 all the way to 7 in the evening. Let me check my battery. What my battery looking like? Okay, yeah. But I was glued to that book until 10 in the morning to 7 in the evening. Like, mind you, before that, I didn't have a book to my name other than high school books or books that I've collected over time as a kid in my room. I didn't even touch it. They was collecting dust. But I haven't read a book. Matter of fact, read a book in one day. Ever. But that book had me glued to my bed, and I was just stuck to it. And then, like, I'm gonna tell you, after reading that book, that's what it was. Because I was still Christian at the time, but it was just like the universe was like choosing me, because everything was my awakening was built off of building blocks. Like it built to the point where I'm at now. It was like unlocking new new perspectives after new perspectives after new perspectives that really made sense to the last one. It was just building off of one. I was like, oh, like this mind being blown constantly and shit. But yeah, like after law of attraction led me into really understanding, because I watched the secret movie. I started watching the actual movie instead of the book authors. And Bob Proctor was in the movie. That's how I got introduced to Bob Proctor. That's how I got to introduced to Michael Beckwith. That's how I got introduced to other spiritual teachers. I can't remember their name, so I'm not gonna try to butcher their name on this podcast. But I had got introduced to these people, which Bob Proctor. See, I still can remember every like leading piece to where I'm at now, because from Law of Attraction led me to Bob Proctor, which Bob Proctor taught me about paradigm and how you have to change your paradigm to shift your reality. Yeah, I said reality, right? So then I was learning how that, which led me about, he taught me about the 12 universal laws of the universe. I started learning about the laws of the universe, people. The 12 universal laws. I want to try to say this off the top of my head, but I'm gonna have this on the screen. Actually, you have the law of one. You have the law of vibration, right? These are the things that I learned. I'm gonna have these on the screen. You have the law of correlation. You have the law of rhythm. You have the law of I really tried to remember every one of these laws. Law of polarity. Law of polarity. That's 6. You have the law of gender. You have the law of gender. That's 7. You have the law of. See, I feel like I can remember, but I'm really putting myself on spot. It's gonna be on the screen, but I started learning about the law of vibration. So it went from law of attraction. Law of attraction is 1. Add that. That's 8. That's 8. Now 9, 10, 11, 12. I gotta really remember that. It ain't coming to me right now, but it's gonna be on the screen. But I started learning about law of vibration, right? Boom. Started learning about law of vibration, which led me to learn about vibration, energy, frequency. Nikola Tesla. Right? See, these are the building blocks of my mind. So I would say the renunciation of Christianity and religion came from all of the layers that I was learning about life. You get what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just like a one day thing where I just dropped Christianity. No. It was a thing of, over time, these things started making sense to me as a whole of why I shouldn't just hold myself to one religion. You know? And it's never been no disrespect to no religions. There's never been that. It's never been that. I just, for myself, feel like I'm a student of life. I realized I was a student of life, and I'm like a bird looking over everything and just taking in everything that it sees. That's how I start feeling about life. I don't know what I'm doing with my hand with this. But yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like I was just soaring over all of the perspectives and all of the religions and looking over it from a bird's eye view. And so then that led me to be introduced to Infinite Waters. Infinite Waters. Shout out to my God. I'm going to tell you, if you watch this, I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but you put me onto so much of spirituality. And I'm very appreciative of you. Because he was one of the people on YouTube that I started watching. And he's so, I'm going to tell you, his content and him is so original, because nobody wasn't making spiritual content like Infinite Waters. because he was like, breathing in that good prana. Like, you didn't see that on any other platform. And he'll say it every time. He never not said it. He still says it to this day. Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Which, like I said, I started watching a lot of his content. So all of these things, like I said, with my journey, it was just a understanding of things slowly. It was one rabbit hole after another rabbit hole after another rabbit hole after another rabbit hole, which made me look at my personal perspective on life and question myself and my beliefs. I'm not a person that hold myself down to a certain belief. Once I'm presented with truth, if I'm presented with truth and I'm presented with something that resonates with me and feels, good, I can change. I can change my way of thinking. And I know a lot of people are different than that and, see life differently, but that's just how I see see the world. So now we talking about the stages of awakening. I'm getting all of these downloads, right? And I think the biggest one that, I asked my guest this what was that one thing that really made you have that moment to yourself, like, oh, like this is different, right? I think for me, mine was like understanding energy, understanding matter, and because I started actually getting into quantum physics. I'm a deep researcher. Therefore, I'm researching every single possible thing there is. I want to learn everything. That's just how my mind is. But I started learning about quantum physics, and then I started learning about, shout out to Dr. Joe Dispenza, because he speaks on this in the I have this book right here, Becoming Supernatural. Make sure y'all write these books down, because these books are essential. And I'm going to do a book video, so be on the lookout for that. But he breaks down matter, because this is quantum physics. If you break down matter, what makes matter is atoms, right? And if you break atoms down to a subatomic level, they are made up of 99.99 empty space, right? So this is the awareness that I've gained, and this is what blew my mind into like, oh, nah, this is actually crazy. This is actually crazy, right? My thing was, I love the sun. I love how every time I film, the sun just be coming straight through on me. I appreciate that, because this is the light. We talking about the light, and the light is beautiful. But if you understand that what make matter is 99.99 empty space, and this is what I realized. I'm like, so what makes us actually physical is empty space. Therefore, are we really physical? And I had to ask myself that question. I was like, are we really physical or not? If what makes us is empty. So then I started diving into consciousness and what consciousness means. Consciousness is something that we basically, shout out to Deepak Chopra. I'm going to forever shout these people out, because these people are essential in my life. It's the understanding that we are creating consciousness from our mind. Therefore, we are collectively creating this experience. It's not actually real. This is why people, even in Indian spirituality, they call it Maya. They call this the veil. You know what I'm saying? It's like in Indian spirituality, they see life, or the ultimate goal is rising above Maya, the illusion of separation. You know what I'm saying? The illusion of this life. And once I start understanding that, I was just like, man, and this is when I started realizing that we was all connected. That every single one that I'm looking at, every person I'm looking at, is just a extension of myself, a reflection of myself. And this is the power of manifestation. Because when you realize that you are creating everything from your consciousness, everything is coming from you. And you got to reflect on that. Everything that you bring into your life is coming from you. It's your creation. The people, the experiences, the happiness, the sadness, the heaven, the hell. You are creating it consciously every single day. And this is something I realized, which is crazy. And the ideal of that is what led me to my dark night of the soul. Let's get into it. The understanding of that just led me to the dark night of the soul, because when you grasp these concepts of life and just self-realization, you don't look at life the same no more. And I spoke on that in my past podcasts, of just having a different perception of life, and especially when you build your life around a certain way of thinking your whole life, you're basically unlearning everything that you was taught, the conditioning, the everything that was given to you entering this realm, entering the earth. You have these certain conditions that you because when you're a child, you're a sponge, and you taking in all of these ways. You seeing your parents, and you're seeing just how they maneuver through life, and everything they believe, you're most likely going to believe, and they're going to want you to believe it, right? Therefore, any tradition that you're born in, most likely you're going to follow that tradition. That's another thing I realized too. It's just like, what about the people that have no awareness? What about the people that have no connection to and born across the whole other side of the world? Why should they get punished for not even being able to come across the Bible, or come across whatever, and be punished for not knowing? And I try to tell people that whatever tradition you were born in, you're going to naturally believe that tradition is true, because you are born in it. You're literally born in it. So most of the time you're going to be in that tradition. You're most likely going to be defending that tradition. That's why, for all the people that are racist, when you're born in a racist family, it's hard not to be racist no more, because you was born into that. It takes a person, a brave, a strong, spirited soul to break off the chains of those conditions that they was born in. And that's in every situation. I'm slick spitting right now. But the reason why I'm saying that, because it's hard to break those conditions that we was given. So when you are understanding and getting these downloads about who you are, and realizing your essence of your soul, and that you're more than just your physical body, that's when the dark night soul really hits, because you don't know how to maneuver, and you want your friends to understand you, and you want your friends to do the same thing. Basically, you want your friends to wake up. And I saw this guy, I don't know his name, but he said this: awakening is not a group project. It is a self thing. It is a self project, and you are chosen to awaken. So, and me saying that is that even me and my dark night of the soul, I just felt misunderstood. I felt like nobody understood me. I felt like nobody got me, because I was trying to awaken people and they was blocking it. They didn't take in the information, or wanted to take in the information I was telling them. I want to say shout out to my friends, because I feel like my friends was very open to hear what I was going through, and to be there for me. Even I had to separate myself. That's why I kind of blend my dark night of the soul and my hermit stage together, because a hermit stage is a part of the the spiritual awakening phase too. But I had to separate myself from my friends for a point of time because all I wanted to talk about was spirituality. All I wanted to talk about is the stars. I wanted to talk about the galaxies. I wanted to talk about space. I wanted to talk about frequencies, energy. I wanted to talk to people that wanted to talk about that. And once you start going through this, you will start realizing that a lot of people are not on that journey. Excuse me. And it's hard to even then to realize or figure out how to find people that are, especially being from Memphis. That's the South, and the South is very religious. The South is very religious. So most of the time it's going to be more religious people than spiritual, people that's, into that type of stuff, deeper in the deeper South of America. So it was interesting for me, and I had to go on a real, lonely journey. I wouldn't say lonely journey, but I would say a self journey. That's when I started learning meditation. I started learning about breath work. I started learning about just going inward and being very mindful of what I do and how it affects others. And speaking about mindful of what I do, the 4 agreements was another catalyst of my awakening. Let's go over the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. I started being more aware of my actions. I started being aware of how I spoke to people. And that was big parts of the 4 agreements because he has that one, that be impeccable with your word is important because you start realizing that your voice casts spells. Everything that you say to people, everything that you say to yourself is like a spell. Your tongue is like a wand because that frequency of your voice and that energy of what you spewing can be very harmful to that person. He has a story in that book, and he speaks about how a mother, it was a daughter that was singing at the house, and the mother came home and was like, stop singing. Like, basically saying, like, stop singing. Like, your singing is horrible. I don't like it. Therefore, the daughter never sung again because of her mother words, because you start realizing how much poisonous your words could be to somebody. But you have to have the awareness. See, the thing is, we have to grow awareness of the things that we do in this lifetime. I started making sure I be more aware. I always felt like I was always that kid that I never tried to intentionally hurt nobody with my words. I always tried to, I always felt like I was always trying to be more positive. Even before my spiritual journey, I was always considered a positive guy. I was always happy. But through my spiritual journey, it made me be more aware. It made me be more intentional with what I'm doing and how I'm affecting other people, which really like transcended my reality for me. It really got me to certain levels and be able to build better relationships with people, because I realized that it's so much effects that you can cause for people based off or being selfish, even with sexual activities or wanting to engage in sexual activities or even engaging in relationships. It's like everything that I do is like I'm trying to put more intention into it, because I know I'm thinking about that person and empathizing with how they will feel, and would this be effective? Would this actually be smart? Instead of thinking selfishly. These are all the things that when I was in hermit stage, I got to sit with myself and really break down everything and understand myself more through meditation and sitting with myself. And when you go through your hermit stage or dark night of soul, it's like I stopped wanting to go to the club. I stopped wanting to drink. I stopped wanting to everything that I used to do when I was like in my younger 20s, like 21, 22, 23, 18, 19, 20, around that age, I didn't want to do no more because I was so recluse within myself and my energy that when I did go out, I could feel everybody energy. Like if I was to go out and people like fighting or arguing, like I used to feel that. Like I stopped wanting to surround myself with those type of energies, because when you doing so much work within yourself, it's kind of is it you want to be around people that are doing that work as well. You want to be around people that's working on themselves, because the it's just you pick up on energies more, and it feels, and I was feeling those energies more. I would say I was feeling those energies heavier, which made me start making better decisions for myself and my peace, protecting my peace. I started going to the park more. The park was my favorite. It's still not was still my favorite place in the world. I love going to the park. I had a park in Memphis. It was called Shelby Farms Park. All my Memphis people, you know what Shelby Farm Park is. But I used to go to Shelby Farms all the time, just to get away from the matrix, just to get away from the doing. As humans, we always feel like we always have to be doing something. We always just being distracted. And that's another issue, because they want us distracted. They want us distracted, bro. Like they want us like just going. But we can't realize who we are. We can't realize our true power. And I used to go there. I used to journal. I used to read my books. I used to go and I used to just be. It was a certain part in the park where I used to just go out and I used to be like yelling out affirmations, yelling out like I am this, I am that, I am this, like because nobody used to be in that area, so it would just be me. I'd be hugging trees, everything. It's benefit to hugging trees too. Like I still hug a tree to this day. You dig what I'm saying? Proudly. Proudly. But yeah. Yeah, I will be. I feel so much in love with just being with my own energy, being in nature. I started changing my music. I started listening to Londrell. Shout out to Londrell. I started listening to Janae Aiko. I started listening to all people that I start connecting more with people that was actually talking about something, like actually make putting their soul in their music. Like Big Sean, he put so much of his spiritual journey into his music and his spiritual words in his music. I started connecting with more people that resonated with my journey. Like Big Sean has a song called The Light, and that's one of my favorite Big Sean songs. And that's what I'm saying. I started listening to all high frequency music, 432 hertz music. I started going to sleep to high frequency music. I completely shifted my life totally around to where people, when you go on a spiritual journey, they think that you're going on down the wrong path. They think that you're doing witchcraft, because I started getting crystals and I started burning incense and I started, which, like, hold up, let me like this bad boy. This is a smoky Kurt. I say smoky Kurtz, a smoky quartz right here. You know what I'm saying? But people believe that crystals would be witchcraft, right? Which is crazy. Why would something be that's created from the universe and created on the earth would be witchcraft? These are things that can hold energy that you can use to heal yourself, to heal the energies that's in your system and in your body. And it's important to be able to use these tools to help you have a better, healthier life. And I started understanding what crystals meant. I just started really, like I said, it was a slowly process of just going through one avenue, opening another door, opening another door. And it's just like, it really made sense. And I really felt like it was the universe guiding me to my ultimate purpose. Like, no, like, you want to be an entertainer. That's what I wanted to be when I was like 18, 19. I either wanted to be like an entertainer or something like that, or comedian or singer or whatever. But nah, the universe had another plan. It had other plans. It was like, no, you supposed to be here to be a beacon of light, to be in a vessel. And I feel like that was one of my understandings with all of the readings I was doing. I was reading autobiography of a yogi. This guy right here was I feel like during that time was one of the people that really took my mind into really understand the things that we can do with our spiritual essence and what we can really do once we learn who we truly are and really tap in more into meditation. I started learning about Christ consciousness and learning about just the power of Yeshua and how I was like, because my belief that Jesus was real never changed. Yes, I started being spiritual, but I never said that Jesus was not a real person. I believe that he was a real person. I believe that he was an ascended master. I believe that he was somebody that understood the power that we all have within us. All the ascended masters, and me and Indigo spoke on this, but all the ascended masters realized the one thing that we're not realizing, that self that is in God is the self that is in us. That consciousness that is in God is the consciousness that's within us. And they realize that, which is quote unquote enlightenment. And once you're enlightened because you realize that everything is you, you are the source, you are connected to everything. You're not separated. That's duality way of thinking. When you believe that you're separate from everything. And that's how they want us to believe. They want us to believe that we're separate and we're against each other and we're divided and we this way. They want us to be that way, but it's not like that. And you can see this pattern in every single ascended master. Now, the things that I would say that's around Yeshua, that was built around him, I feel like that was a sense of control. And they want you to live in that fear. And they want you, but I don't think that was his way. And that's what he wanted. And what the ultimate universe, God, wants you to feel like it's supposed to be. In my heart, I just don't think that's to be true. And now I feel like once you go through that phase where you listening to new music and you getting crystals and you learning all of these spiritual truths and you learning about quantum physics, you learn about, it's like you start integrating that into your daily life. You start integrating these ways of thinking so where it's not less of a struggle, because when the earliest stages, you're going to look like this guy. And I'm going to put up like right here. I'm going to put this guy. You're going to look like this. And you're going to look crazy to a lot of people. And you're going to feel crazy. But as you slowly give yourself time to learn and grow, you just be able to integrate with life and with your perceptions more. And then once you integrate, we'll reach the last stage and you'll be able to live in harmony and peace and inner peace with who you are and not try to make everybody believe what you believe and not try to force your perceptions on everybody. You can live in peace with knowing what you know and living in that essence of self, which I am dedicating my life to. I'm meditating. I am make sure I treat everybody like how I want to be treated. I am continually to learn, to grow, to be my best self, because I realize that I am that essence. I am that self. That self is inside me, and that really enlightens my soul and my spirit, that knowing that I will always be okay because my soul is infinite. My soul is like eternal. And I think that's what these ascended matters realize. And what I realize is that when you understand energy, it will help you a lot too, because energy can never be created nor destroyed. It's just like the breakdown of God, right? It's like can never be created or destroyed. It's going to always be here. Your soul is always going to be here. It can't be destroyed. It can only transcend. This is what I learned. It can only transcend. So I'm like, death is not the end. Once you leave the shell, and shout out to Ram Dass, he said, death is like getting out of a tight shoe. You wiggling out a tight shoe, right? And you get out and you're like, okay, it wasn't that bad. It actually wasn't that bad. And I can live with peace knowing that once this is over in this lifetime for myself, I know that I will be okay. And I live in that truth. I live just knowing that, first of all, I think we got to talk about reincarnation too. But I want to say that for a separate podcast. See, I'm just trying to go through my spiritual awakening, but reincarnation has to be a separate topic in itself. And I want to shout out to Janaea Aiko too. We're kind of going from one thing to another, but still, Janaea Aiko, man, keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting music, keep putting these healing sounds in this music, because the world needs it. And it's beautiful seeing people follow their paths and follow what they doing, because, man, I'm telling you, that music, Eternal Sunshine, got to be my favorite song by Janaea Aiko. I'm going to say Eternal Sunshine, While We're Young, I'm going to say Ways, I'm going to say Ascension featuring Brandy. Woo! Hey, I'm telling you, y'all know about that. Y'all know about that Ascension. But yeah, so I wanted to say that because Janaea Aiko was an important part too. But yeah, this is my journey. You know, I'm here now, and I'm living in my truth, and it's so beautiful because I get to see the world in this way to where I can look at other people knowing that they are a reflection of me, and I can give that love to them. You know, so yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. My journey wasn't easy, but now it's beautiful that I got through that. And if you're going through a spiritual awakening, just know that I am here for you. I am here for you. And if you need anything, come to my world, come to my content, and I hope that I'll be able to help you on your journey of your spiritual awakening. Know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. To my men and women out there that's going through that, it's going to be okay. You're going to get through it. If you feel lonely, just know that you change your perception. It's beautiful what you're going through right now. And it's beautiful what your soul is going through right now. Don't feel down and out like you don't got nobody. Trust me. You, yourself, your higher self, your spirit guides are with you. You are never alone. You're never alone. And I'm here to tell you that. And I love everybody that watched this video, and I really appreciate y'all for supporting my podcast. I really hope y'all take something from this. And I hope I don't forget nothing. I hope I ain't forget nothing. Let me check my phone real quick, make sure I ain't forget nothing. Ooh. Yeah. Shout out to Ram Dass too, man. Ram Dass definitely. Oh yeah. No, I definitely want to say this too about movies, because I watched a lot of movies too in my spiritual journey. I'm gonna say I watched these movies was very important for me too. The Matrix, The Truman Show, Inception. These movies was very important too, because The Matrix is more than just a movie. It's really like a documentary, because you watch that Matrix, you'll really learn a lot of shit. For real. You really learn a lot of stuff. And like I said, I'm always going to speak on my people that put me onto it. Alan Watts, Ram Dass, Billy Carson with the Ancient Civilizations, because Ancient Civilizations was one of the things that I realized too. Learning about the Atlantis, learning about the Anunnaki, learning about all the civilizations that came before us was very essential to my learning. I'm always going, even Alan Watts, man. Alan Watts said something which stuck with me on my journey too. He said that we are all God in drag. And that really stuck with me, because I really feel that. We're all God cosplaying as something that's not God. And we cosplaying these different characters like it's a big cosmic play. Which is beautiful too, though, once you understand and realize that. But you know, I'm gonna be done yapping, y'all. I feel like I'm everywhere right now. But I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I appreciate this experience. This is episode 4, people. And I hope y'all had a good time and hear me yap. And hear me yap about my spiritual awakening. And I want to say, we are all on this journey back to the light. Let's make each other experiences more comfortable, more loving, more just more everything. All right. Be kind to your neighbors. Love yourself. Know that you are powerful. And I appreciate y'all. And we out. See y'all next week.